The Architecture of Lying: How Regimes Turn Backchannels into Modern Theater. Originally published as Substack, July 27, 2026. In modern conflict analysis, there is a fundamental rule. Do not confuse a regime's domestic broadcast with its operational balance sheet. When Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmail Baghai stepped up to the podium in Tehran to announce that Iran had not requested talks with Washington, and that discussions were merely bilateral consultations with Oman regarding maritime safety, media feeds rushed to report a diplomatic breakdown. Critics framed the rejection as proof that enforcement is failing and that Tehran is holding a firm line. To the untrained eye, it looked like defiance. To anyone tracking the structural mechanics of back-channel diplomacy, it was a textbook exercise in semantic preservation. 1. The anatomy of strategic deniability. When a state operates under severe physical strain, facing degraded air defenses, an active naval blockade, and dwindling currency reserves, it faces an existential political dilemma. The conflict dilemma. Option A, public negotiations. Looks like capitulation to hardliners and risks immediate internal revolt. Option B, total rejection. This invites immediate kinetic destruction or accelerates total economic collapse. Option A triggers internal political collapse. Option B accelerates external physical destruction. To survive, a regime invents option C, public denial via intermediary management. By conducting technical discussions with Omani delegations in Tehran while vehemently denying direct talks with Washington on state television, Tehran constructs a false dichotomy. They separate the message from the carrier. 2. The mechanics, how the Omani circuit works. To understand the lying, one must trace the physical circuit of modern back-channel mediation. The tactical pause. Washington or regional mediators signal a temporary lull in kinetic strikes to give diplomatic space. The shuttle delegate. Omani diplomatic envoys travel directly between Washington and Tehran. They carry draft parameters, maritime transit protocols, asset freezes, or operational boundaries. The local translation. When the Omani delegation sits in Tehran, the discussions are technically between Iranian officials and Omani undersecretaries. The semantic loophole. Iranian state media broadcasts, "We are having bilateral talks with our coastal neighbor Oman about the Strait of Hormuz." This statement is technically true in syntax, but functionally false in reality. Oman is not negotiating maritime law for its own independent fleet. It is serving as the physical conduit transmitting terms back to Washington. 3. Public posturing versus private math. What Tehran says, the feed. We will not let the U.S. set terms. What Tehran does, the ledger. Entertains Omani draft proposals outlining transit parameters. What Tehran says, the feed. We have not asked to talk with Washington. What Tehran does, the ledger. Hosts multi-day technical briefings with regional intermediaries. What Tehran says, the feed. The Strait of Hormuz remains fully closed under our terms. What Tehran does, the ledger. Discusses operational framework compromises to relieve blockade pressure. Public denials are not evidence that negotiations aren't happening. They are proof of how dangerous those negotiations are for the regime's domestic survival. The louder a spokesperson insists that no deal is being discussed, the more desperately the state requires the off-ramp behind closed doors. The bottom line. When analyzing crisis diplomacy, treating public press statements as ground truth is a fatal mistake. States do not announce their capitulations before the contracts are stamped. They deny the channel, insult the adversary, and reassure their hardline base right up until the exact moment the memorandum is signed. The analyst doesn't listen to what the spokesperson says at the podium. The analyst tracks where the Omani plane lands, how long the tactical pauses last, and how fast the balance sheet is burning. Fundamentals always dictate the final signature, no matter how elaborate the theater gets beforehand. Do not be deceived. Iran is talking to Washington. Eyes open. The Mercer Ledger is an independent reader-supported platform. You can back our work at ko-fi.com/wemercer. That's ko-fi.com/wemercer. And thanks for listening.